boring and operationally difficult businesses inherently develops moats for such businesses in the sense that they discourage competition. Most people neither have the will nor the capacity to enter such businesses. Great for the incumbents, isn't it? Well, there are exceptions. So much so that even existing players struggle to sustain. Airlines businesses is one such business. Even the veterans of this industry, including the likes of Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Atlantic, has acknowledged that it was quite foolish of him to start an airlines company. One just can't make money here, he claimed. In fact, he has quite an interesting and witty quote, which goes like, "The quickest way to become a millionaire in the airline business is to start as a billionaire." The Indian aviation scene is no less stranger to massive failures, be it via Kingfisher or Jet Airways. Even for other players, being cash flow positive is a distant dream, especially after COVID. What is it that makes aviation such a tough nut to crack? How does this industry actually work? What are the things that we must consider while analyzing this industry? What's the recipe for success? Let's deep dive into knowing the Indian aviation industry in great detail through the lens of the most successful Indian airline brand and world's 6th largest carrier, Indigo. Welcome to Upsurge.club. In this video, we are going to decode the aviation industry from the lens of Indigo. Just like for any other business, everything boils down to just one metric. That is, ability to turn a profit. Barring a few, most airlines had yet to be profitable over the years. Well, the aviation industry is quite old, so why can't profitability be taken care of? I'm sure this is the question that might have struck you. Well, aviation is unique in the sense that the decision makers don't have a lot in their hands. It is plagued by a lot of externalities. These include high oil price dependency, high fixed costs, competitive price wars, weather and security issues, and government interference. Let us derive a more nuanced perspective on the industry structure through Porter's 5 forces analysis. First, talking about threats from new entrants. It's reasonably low. Reason being high initial cost, lack of expertise, and extensive approval requirements from DGCA, the statutory body that regulates the aviation sector. The bargaining power of suppliers is significant. It comprises aircraft manufacturing companies like Boeing and Airbus, as well as airports which charge a parking fee to airlines. I'd like to consider buyer power, threat from competition, and threat from substitutes together, since they are quite interrelated. Buyers, that is travelers, have a lot of flight options at their disposal. At the same time, the services offered are quite undifferentiated, except for flight times. This leads to an oligopolistic market where price wars are commonplace, which greatly hurts margins. Moreover, an extensive rail and road network act as powerful substitutes in times of rising airfares. Business-related air travel, which was a huge category, has already seen a sharp downfall, with people getting habituated to Zoom calls, finding it more convenient and cheap. All in all, a bad industry to operate in with more headwinds than tailwinds, isn't it? Well, not really. Especially when it comes to Indian aviation, prospects remain very bright. In fact, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's foray into aviation with Akasa Air is telling of the huge opportunities that lie ahead. India is home to 11% of the global urban population. With rising income and an emerging middle class, uptick in flight usage is sure to follow. In fact, crowding witnessed at several airports post-COVID testifies this. Moreover, government support under the UDAN scheme to increase the number of airports from 140 to 220 by 2025, coupled with Rs 36,000 crore investment through the PPP mode under airport monetization and development, is sure to boost this sector. Also, low penetration along with domestic available seat kilometers expected to grow at 14% CAGR, there's more to the aviation sector than what meets the eye. What's actually needed to run it profitably is operational excellence. There's just no scope for error. Focus on the minutest of the details is what's necessary to succeed. And when we talk about operational excellence, there's no better example than Indigo, who did fairly well until 2019. Let's deconstruct an airline's path to profitability, talking about Indigo's genius along the way. So profit is essentially revenue minus costs. There are three major sources of revenue for an aircraft carrier: passenger ticket sales, cargo revenue, and revenue from allied activities. Passenger revenue is equal to number of passengers times the average ticket price. Further, the number of passengers can be broken down as number of carriers into number of departures per carrier into number of seats times the load factor, that is occupancy rates. So the total revenue potential is constrained primarily by the number of carriers. Cargo revenue directly varies with cargo tonnage. Indigo operates 1500 plus daily flights using a 275 carrier fleet. It had a pre-COVID load factor of 85% of the 70,386 million available seat kilometers. Passenger revenue comprises a significant 85% of Indigo's revenue, while allied activities like in-flight retail, special services, and ticket modification and cancellation account for 11%. Let's discuss the cost components now, because that is where the genius unfolds. Aircraft fuel expenses comprises over 25% of the total costs. It could be broken down as number of departures into average fuel price into fuel per kg per departure times total aircraft weight. While fuel prices can be hedged against rises, Indigo has traditionally avoided hedging. In fact, 0% of Indigo's aircraft fuel expense of Rs 9,695 crores was hedged in FY22. Thus, fuel consumption and carrier weight are the only avenues for cost optimization. And here's where Indigo plays it really well. Strategies used to reduce flight weight are interestingly funny. For instance, Indigo has only female attendants since they generally weigh 20 kgs less than their male counterparts. This translates to Rs 4,500 in savings per departure and annual savings of Rs 46 crores. Second, they have no in-flight entertainment, resulting in annual savings of Rs 4 crores at carrier level. Also, as against other carriers, it does not carry full tank water capacity, leading to significant weight reduction. Another interesting technique is stringent baggage norms. While we just don't like paying Rs 400 for extra kilo of baggage, airlines love such revenue. This is because this comes at a cost of Rs 3 per kg to the airline, over 13,000% gross margin. Crazy, right? Coming to fuel optimization, Indigo operates a younger fleet, leading to great fuel efficiency. Moreover, it makes use of techniques like flight path optimization, parking space planning, and fuel price linked to dynamic fare determination to cut costs. An innovative technique that carriers use these days is operating single-engine taxis, wherein only half of the installed engines are used. Moving to the balance sheet, the biggest item that you will find there is right of use asset to the tune of Rs 20,438 crores. What's that, you might ask? Well, Indigo operates on a sales and lease back model to keep its balance sheet light. It places a bulk order leading to a 30 to 40% discount. Moreover, with just 4% down payment, it leads to a positive cash flow for the company. This also brings us to the next major cost component, that is cost of aircraft and engine rentals. It is this very reason that we use EBITDA, that is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciations, amortization, and restructuring or rent costs instead of the general EBITDA to evaluate airline companies at an operational level. Indigo has an EBITDA margin of 4.4% for FY22. Now, given that we know about the various revenue and cost components, let's talk about this on a per kilometer basis. The two metrics to consider here are RASK, that is revenue per available seat kilometers, and CASK, that is cost per available seat kilometers. CASK refers to airlines' cost of single passenger's movement per single kilometer, which is obtained by dividing the operative costs by ASK, that is available seat kilometers. On the other hand, RASK shows how much revenue each seat kilometer generates for an airline, which is arrived at by dividing airline's revenue generated for the period by ASK. Comparing RASK and CASK leads to arriving at profitability at a unit level. For FY22, Indigo's RASK was Rs 3.73 as against its CASK of Rs 4.60, leading to a loss of Rs 0.87. As a result, it incurred a loss of 23% at a net profit level. All in all, it is a high operating leverage business. There's a long way to reach the break-even point, as a result of which operating flights with low utilization levels would eventually kill the airline. However, once the carrier breaks even, profits are huge. In fact, if Indigo is considered with revenue per passenger at Rs 4,415, it breaks even at 131 passengers in a total capacity of 180 per carrier. What this means is that if you have 150 passengers traveling with you, 131 of them just cover your costs. This roughly translates into a minimum required load factor of 73%. However, the marginal cost to serve the other 19 is very low. This results in extremely high gross margins on those sales. That is a phenomena that you will witness across all high operating leverage businesses like pharma, telecom, real estate, hospitality, etc. It works for you in the good times, but is extremely bad when the tide turns. The Indian aviation scene has already witnessed a number of players folding down, with many others on the verge of folding. Most players are reeling under huge debt. COVID added to their woes. Achieving pre-COVID levels still seem quite distant. Clearly, running an airline business is not everyone's cup of tea. An exceptional operator with a razor-sharp focus on intricacies is what is suited to this industry. Consequently, the quality of management becomes all the more important. Did this finally answer your question about the workings of the aviation industry? If yes, then make sure you subscribe to Upsurge.club and make sure that the algorithm keeps working in our favor. Also, don't forget to like, share and comment.